Is this Straffe Hendrik Tripel the best beer in the world? Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm posing the question, is this the best beer in the world? Some of you will be sat there going, Tom, absolutely possibly it is pretty fantastic, and some others of you will be saying, well, how could you possibly know? You still haven't tried every beer in the world, which incidentally I think may be an impossible task. There are too many new beers being created all the time for one person to be able to get their hands on all of them, never mind international shipping issues. But all that aside, this is a beer that I think could be one of the best beers in the world. And when I say that, I do mean one of. But why am I posing this question? Well, I am frequently asked, what is the best beer in the world? Or what is my favourite beer? Or something to that effect. And well, it's a really difficult thing to answer. So I thought, instead of trying to compile a definitive list of individual beers, I would bring you what I consider to be the best beers in the world and review them for you in a slightly different fashion. Typically, when I'm reviewing beer in, well, as non-biased, I guess, way as possible. I'm trying to give you a rundown of the beer for the first time I'm trying it, and so on, and just to let you know what the experience is. I'm telling you right now, this is absolutely brilliant, but I need to try and convince you as to why. So let's get it open. Before we do, we need to take a look at the bottle and, well, you know how they say you eat with your eyes? Well, I definitely drink with my eyes as well. There is something about this absolute Belgian classic that, well, it screams sophistication. The fact that the label there is basically in British racing green, I think helps a lot. Along with the gold accents, it is just absolutely classic. This is a Belgian triple. It comes in at 9%. It is from the Half Moon Brewery out of Bruges, and well, it is just Belgian deliciousness in a bottle. So I even have the right glassware for this one, my new Straffe Hendrik glass. Let's get this poured out. Oh, just before I do, there's a nice half moon on the bottle cap there, always a nice touch. And these will be bottle conditioned beers, but in the Belgian style, we're just gonna pour it straight up. I'm gonna pour everything, but we're not gonna agitate the yeast in the bottom. So let's get a nice, lovely, lush pour of Belgian beer into that glass. There we go. Absolutely perfect. Nice, healthy head on it. And it does look the business. Just before I tell you about why I love this beer so much and my story with it, just take a minute of appreciation. That is just a big, soft, velvety head atop a marmalade orange rich triple. Look at it. I mean, I don't need to sell it much more than that. That is the Belgian dream right there. But why do I love this beer so much? Well, my first experience with this was sat in my house, having had a handful of German beers in the past. I'd had a few from Leffe or Leffe, or however we're pronouncing it these days, before it became fairly dull in the UK, and a couple of others, but nothing too crazy. I'd had Bruzot, which incidentally is also made by the Half Moon Brewery, but that was it. Not a whole host of the stronger things. We are going back some 15 to 20 years at this point. And my dad went on a work trip to Belgium and said, they're renowned for beers, do you want some? And I said, yes, absolutely. And he bought me back a tote bag of, it was like made for individual beer. There was like 20 sections within the bag to hold it all. It was a beautiful thing, and the cost compared to what we pay for beer here now, absurd. The whole bag probably cost the same as, I don't know, 2.5 IPAs out of your local tap room. So yeah, really not too extravagant at all. And I went through this whole bag, not in one sitting, thankfully, but you know what, they were all good. I didn't have a beer I didn't like, but I got to 2 beers that maybe look back at the bottle and go, oh yes, I need to remember that, and that was the Straffe Hendrik Quad and the Straffe Hendrik Tripel. The Tripel being my preference and why we're looking at it today. It struck a chord. It is something that I always look forward to. I'm not going to say it's my all-time favourite Belgian beer, but I'm not going to say that it's not either. It needs some serious consideration. So that's why it's on this list. Just before we get into some more interesting notes about the beer, let's give it a quick review, shall we? So, aroma-wise, immediately hit with that Belgian yeast funk you get in most Belgian beers. But in this, it's a bit more refined. It's a bit more palatable in some way. It's more... The way I can describe it, because it's not a distinct aroma change. It smells like all other Belgian yeasted beers. It's a little bit kind of fake sweet shop banana foam shrimp kind of confectionery stuff, right? Bit sherbety perhaps. They all smell like that. But this, you know when you have some confectionery, some sweets, and you have two that are very similar, but one is the cheapest one going and the other one is made with real fruit juices. You know both of them are bad for you. You know both of them are just full of sugar, but for some reason that one with the real fruit juices just feels more authentic, a bit more old school, a bit more, well, real, and that is what's happening with the aroma out of this Tripel. It's very candied, it's super sweet, lightly fruity. The problem with reviewing beers that you're so familiar with, and it's why I've not reviewed this before, is that you stick your nose in and you go, it doesn't smell like XYZ, it smells like the Straffe Hendrik Tripel to me. I find it very easy with a brand new beer to go, oh, it reminds me of XYZ, because it's a whole new experience, even if the tones are very similar. But in something I'm so familiar with, it doesn't. It just is that product. So anyway, let's give it a sip. Cheers to what could be the best beer in the world. Straight away, I have an affinity for this drink and some others at the same intensity, but very few things just put that instant, just happy smile on my face. Yeah, I'm going to need a minute to work out exactly why. While I do though, another fun fact about the Half Moon Brewery and this Straffe Hendrik beer is that they had a problem. In Bruges, it's an old city with very narrow cobbled streets, and as a result, getting beer from the brewery to the packaging site to the pubs, well, it required a lot of lorries and a lot of narrow passageways, which isn't great for business or traffic. So they did what any sane person would do and build a 2-mile long beer pipeline underneath the roadways of the city, which, well, I'm not saying I'm going to go live there because there's probably too many people for my personal preference, but, well, if I were to live in a city, one with its own beer pipeline sounds like a great one to me. Now, if you hadn't already guessed, this best beer in the world concept is likely to become a series. I do like a series, a theme to run throughout several videos, and yeah, this is no different. And one thing that I'm going to say about this that is likely to pop up in all of the others is kind of the reminiscence of this experience. If you take away all of its regional and just, I guess, stereotypical aspects, its Belgianness, you're left with a really nice malty beer. And for those of you who know, the malt in a beer is my personal favourite aspect. It's not the hop complexity, it's that layering of biscuity and wheaty notes that really just bring it all together. Of course, I realise I was using wheat for barley, which is, you get what I mean. It's the cereal profile that I absolutely dig, whether it's malted barley, whether it's wheat, whether it's whatever. And yeah, in this, it has a distinctly malty edge. It is slightly sweet, it is slightly spicy, it's got nice caramel lip to it, but it's that backbone, it's that strong malt profile that for me makes this one of the greatest. And the other thing that I find very important in a beer, mouthfeel. This had a nice big head, it's thick, it's rich, it's decadent, but it's not overly carbonated, it's not overly just gassing, it's weirdly approachable, actually, is what I've just realised. It's big, strong, 9%er, but really quite dangerous. I've drank the first half of that very quickly indeed, and that's because it's just so easy to get on board with. It's balanced, ultimately. It has got a lot of sweetness, as all big, strong Belgian ales do, but it sets it off with a bit of spice, with a bit of slightly citric edge in some fruity tones, just kind of meandering around the edges. And, well, what more could you want from what could be the best beer in the world? And I think, to be honest, that largely summarises what it is about this beer that makes me want to put it forward for being potentially the best beer in the world. It has just this balance, this very nuanced flair that it's undeniably proper Belgian ale, like straight through and through. You're not really going to find a more Belgian triple than this Belgian triple. It hits all the marks straight away. But what this does that I think a lot of others don't is provide you with instant ease, instant calm, instant just accessibility. The balance is perfect. It's not a challenge, but it's full of flavour. It's still rich. It's still an event. And that, frankly, means that, well, I'm just always in the mood for it. Okay, granted, you probably don't want to put it on your cornflakes, but if it's a situation in which a beer is acceptable, that is a very acceptable beer. Now though, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of the Straffe Hendrik triple? Do you think it's better or worse than the quad or any other Belgian triples out there? Or do you have any other shouts for what could be the best beer in the world? Let me know please in the comments, and I will endeavour to pick some of those out if my feelings on them, of course, match your own. Or maybe there's a whole other series of everyone else's best beers in the world in it somewhere further down the line as well. But yeah, that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you'll be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.